What is up, everybody? It's Dr. Vibe here, host and producer of the award-winning Dr. Vibe show. As always, I'd like to say you're blessed, highly favored, a magnet for miracles, and a solution for someone's problem. This is the home of epic conversations, and the Dr. Vibe show is the place for epic conversations. Also know I'm a certified empowerment coach and president and CEO of Express Your Vibe Coaching and Communications. And I always like when we have longtime friends coming on the show. And what I also like about the friend we have on today, he's been on a lot of times audio-wise, but he's now stepping up his video game more and more. He's been on a few times now via the video, and we're looking forward to having him share again today. Who is the friend? It is LeRon Barton. For those who don't know, he's a writer from Kansas City, Missouri. He currently resides in San Francisco, California. He's been writing poetry, screenplays, and short stories since he was way young. Not very young, way young. Yeah, his content has appeared in Salon, The Good Men Project, Those People, Alternate, San Francisco Bayview, BuzzFeed, Gorilla Convict, and The Elephant Journal. His first book, Straight Dope, a 360-degree look into American drug culture, was released in February 2013. And his latest book, All We Really Need Is Love, Stories of Dating, Relationships, Heartbreak, and Marriage, is available at Amazon. But today, we're not talking about the books. Today, we're talking about another non-controversial article that LeBron has written, of course, but has trended for a while on the Good Men Project site. I think it's probably his most successful post he's ever had on the Good Men Project.
I think so, man.
I keep a watch on you, man. I keep a watch on you. The article's called "Should Black People Call the Police?" So, welcome again to the Dr. Vibe show, LeRon Barton. What is up?
Hey, what's going on, Dr. Vibe? Hey, everybody. My name is LeRon. I'm a writer, freelance journalist, novelist, and just a lover of words. You know, as this great man said, out of Kansas City, Missouri. I live in San Francisco, California, and I'm just blessed to always be on your platform. Dr. Vibe, just to tell you, the video is not coming in as sharp as it was 2 minutes ago.
I'm good on my end. I don't know what's going on in your end, but we can see you fine.
Oh, all right.
The broadcast is fine on our end, so no, don't. As Eric B. and Rakeem would say, don't sweat the technique.
Yeah, exactly.
All right, don't sweat the technique. Well, what have you been up to recently outside of writing some really good content? What's been going on?
Man, I've just been reading a lot. Been doing the activism thing, or as Jonah, my friend Jonah Matrango would say, it's just a fancy word for giving a you-know-what. Just been traveling, got back from Los Angeles, saw my really good friend Rennie. She had a birthday party. She turned 40, and just living it's funny because I actually have a birthday this Sunday, so I'll be turning 39. So I'm like,
wow, you're giving away your age, and oh my gosh, so I guess we won't see on good. I hear you on good. Do you know what time it is this Sunday? So I won't send you an email.
It's all good, man. But yeah, just honestly, life is good, man. I mean, aside from the trollish comments, I mean, you can't beat that. I mean, I was on Jesse Lee Peterson's show. I don't know if you have heard of that man. Yeah, very different brother than you. And I was called everything but a child of God. So it's, I mean. But look, when you as I like to say, when you practice black self-respect and when you're uncompromising and unapologetic about the truth, you're going to get these kind of comments. And if I were a person that was not as secure in himself as I am, I would kind of wilt. But I'm staying strong. I mean, I'm from Southside Kansas City, so I mean that's the only way that I know how to do it.
Well, there you go. Well, it's interesting for many individuals like yourself that are on this journey. They always say it's very challenging. I had a lady on earlier, almost a week ago, Nicole Gonzalez Van Cleve, and she writes a lot of stuff about Chicago. She's from Chicago, and she wrote about how the situation in Chicago is really sad. And after she had put out a book, she's put out her first book recently called Crook County. not Cook County, Crook
Right.
County.
I've heard that slang before. Yeah.
Yeah, and one judge told her in Chicago that she shouldn't come back to Chicago. That was a judge that was telling her that, because just what she said, he obviously didn't agree with what she was saying about the criminal justice system when it came to Chicago. But as one of my mentors said, when you're doing something good, it's always uphill.
Absolutely, Dr. Bob. Can you forward me her information? I would love to touch base with that. With
Well,
sister.
I'll do one better. What I'll do is I'll actually send you the link to our conversation.
Right.
And if you want to touch base with her, I can certainly make that collaboration happen. But I'll send you the link. I'll send you the link after our conversation. And if you want to touch base with her further, certainly she's fantastic, really, and she's going to be coming back in a few weeks because she has a myriad of conversation topics, from social justice, criminal justice, etc. She gave a really good lowdown of what's going on in Chicago from both sides of the fence.
Oh my God! I have an idea. What if you had two smart non-white people on the show talking about what's really going on in America? That would be awesome. I'm just saying.
Well, you know what? I'm always on things, and I always, as a mutual comrade of ours, Dr. Rashid, saying, I always have my pen and pad ready. So I'm going to have things circling around, and I know we better get on to what we're going to chat about tonight. We'll never get to it. So you wrote this article, Should Black People Call the Police? Why? Where did the strength come? Because it's not an easy article to write at this time. Where did the thought process and strength come from to write this article?
I had always wanted to write something about African Americans and our relationship with police. I mean, I've written plenty of pieces. You can find them on Goodman Project. You can find them those people. You can find them on LeRonBarton.com. But I wanted to talk about the African Americans and the police from a perspective of, do we really need to call them? And the impetus of the article came from the Charlene Lyles shooting in Seattle. For those that don't know, Miss Lyles was a pregnant African American woman, mother of 3 plus one soon to come. Miss Lyles had a history of mental illness, and because of that, she called the cops numerous times. This time that the last time she called is that she thought that there was a burglary happening. So she called the police. I believe Miss Lyles possibly had a knife, but mind you, excuse me, she's pregnant, and she's in front of her children. And I believe she has a knife for protection. So a verbal altercation happened, and the police shot her, and killed her. And so I believe that Miss Lyles possibly could have been alive if she wouldn't have called the police. And so it just got me to think throughout my life, living, being a young black man, how many times has the police been helpful when we call them? I mean, from my personal interaction with them, as well as stories of friends and family, and just things that I've witnessed. And I'm just asking questions. I'm like, should we call the police? I mean, because as a young black man, I try to stay away from the cops. I don't say hello. I just keep moving, because I know that they are not a friend of the African American community. I know that they're not a friend of the Latina community, and just many non-white people. I mean, we're not looked at the same. So
let's get into this. And one of the things that I really enjoyed about the article is you shed some light on some personal experiences. Could you highlight one or two of these experiences and how it shaped you to not trust the police?
Well, I mean, it's funny, because growing up where I grew up, we were taught, I mean, just explicitly, don't trust the police. Whenever you come across a cop, be on your best behavior, be as courteous as possible. Even change your voice. If you have a deep voice. I mean, in so many words, try to be the most non-threatening Negro possible. And I've seen police, when they have been called, come an hour to 2 hours late. When they do come, they're so lackadaisical and or just not sympathetic. They have attitudes. They view everyone that looks like me as being hostile, as being someone that could have a weapon, and as a criminal. I mean, I remember seeing police harass black folks when I was like 12, 13 years old. I mean, just within the hood, we just knew, hey man, stay as far away from the police as possible. And I've always wondered, like, what is it like to have a non-adversarial relationship with law enforcement? Because I mean, I've only had 2 run-ins with police that have been somewhat positive. One was when I was with my white ex-girlfriend, and the other was just a freak accident where the cop helped me change a tire. And I mean, out of those 2 things, I ran into police officers maybe about 50 times, and it's always been just where are you going? What are you doing around here? Can we search your car? Do you live in this house? Is this your car? I mean, and even if I've been a witness, cops have thought that I was the aggressor in it. So I mean, it's been one of those things, Dr. Vibe, that I'm 38. I'm going to be 39 years old, and I don't have time to try and determine if this cop is good, if this cop not. When I've had an overwhelming, experience with cops being negative, and not only my experience, but people that I know, people, friends, family, people that stories that I read about. Like, I mean, cops and black people, it's always going to be this negative relationship. I mean, it is what it is. It's like the sun rising, it's like water is wet, and it's like ice is cold.
Okay. Just want to share out some people watching our conversation live. Feel free to ask any questions, type any comments. LeRon will certainly provide some response back. I want to roll back to when you were growing up in St. Louis, LeRon. Did your parents give you the talk?
Yeah, so
okay, before you go further, some people who are watching this may not know what the talk is. So can you sort of elaborate for our audience? You and I know what the talk is, but some of our audience may not.
It's funny because I actually wrote a piece that was really popular on Goodman Project called the Talk. So what the talk is that a African American or Latino parent will sit down with their child and essentially tell them that the police will not treat you the same as your white counterpart. That you could be doing all the right things and you will be looked at as a criminal. It doesn't matter how you walk, talk, dress, or act. To a police officer, more often than not, you are looked at as dangerous. And I want to say something, Dr. Bob, and this is let me just be so clear. The darker that you are, the heightened danger that they perceive you. So I'm a pretty dark guy, right? I like to say that I'm black as midnight on Broadway in Myrtle, to quote Mos Def. So I'm a pretty dark guy, so I'm already going to be looked at as a quote-unquote savage. Because, I mean, this is just a part of racism and white supremacy. I mean, this is something that has been passed on throughout centuries. There's no secret that darker skinned blacks are looked at as more aggressive, more mean, more arrogant, while lighter blacks are looked at as, or just lighter people, period, are looked at as more attractive and or more intelligent and possibly even more reasonable. So I really wanted to throw that in. But to answer your first question, my mother, she talked about race to me in a very indirect way. Like she would say, if the police pull you over, just be calm. Make sure that your hands are on the steering wheel, that you can see them. Don't make any sudden movements. Just try to make the cop as relaxed as possible, and you be relaxed, and you look him in the eye. I remember this clearly because she would say always keep eye contact with the police officer. And then there was things such as you know be careful when you drive into these little towns because they have their own law. And of course, you know, be home when the street lights come on. That's going from a sort of a sundown town. And if your audience doesn't know what sundown town is that it's a law in certain towns stating that when the sun is down, Negroes have to be in the house and off the street. Because if you're not off the street, then you could be arrested and or beaten and or lynched. So,
okay. Isn't it interesting that we are in 2017 and black parents still have to give the talk? What does that tell you about policing and blacks?
It tells me that the police are doing exactly what they've been designed to do, which is to oppress black and other non-white people. You know, for anyone that doesn't know this, and I just want to say anything that I'm saying can be researched, can be Googled. Some parts of some facets of law enforcement started out as slave catchers, and if you Google slave catchers, I guess what you call it, badge, or it looks very similar to a sheriff's badge. So I mean, not just using that alone, nothing has really changed.
Okay, LeRon, can you still hear us?
Yes, I can. Sir.
Yeah, you just froze for a second. Keep on going.
Yeah, no. So I mean, it's, you know, I think we have to look at the police as an arm of the racist white supremacist system. I mean, you know, the police are never there to keep us comfortable. I mean, they've always been oppressive. I mean, if you look back, you know, as I said with the slave catchers, if you look back to Reconstruction and with the black codes, they were there to just bust Negroes for vagrancy. You know, if you fast forward to the Civil Rights Movement, they were beating us with clubs and sticking dogs on us and spraying us with water hoses and just, you know, arresting us for just like very petty crimes. You know, fast forward 20 years to the 80s when the police had a hand in spreading crack cocaine throughout the inner cities, and now fast forward to today, police are killing young unarmed black people, specifically black men, and, you know, getting off and saying, oh, well, you know, I was in fear for my life. You know, the nigger was going to kill me. I mean, it's one of those things where it's you know, to reference Dr. Rashid, he often talks about a writer by the name of Derek Bell. And Derek Bell, he has a theory called the permanence of racism, which what that means, Dr. Bob, is it's not that racism is 100% permanent. It just means that there's always going to be a form of racism around, and that to quote Dr. Tommy Curry of Texas A&M, racism bursts, so it's constantly moving. This is actually explained very well in Michelle Alexander's groundbreaking book, The New Jim Crow, how racism, and specifically with the police, how it's taken many shapes. And so this is just the latest shall I say, incarnation of how the police are used to oppress black people now.
Good, interesting stuff. I want to shout out Curtis Brooks. Thanks for stopping by, Curtis. He has a comment here. There is more to us as black people, our overall culture that whites have been trying to destroy in us.
Absolutely.
And I just want to shout out Curtis is the producer of a great weekly online broadcast called Mediascopes, hosted by Dr. Tachi, which just finished up a few minutes ago. And Curtis, thank you so much for jumping off a producer role and
shout out to Curtis, man.
And coming on. I appreciate it. And if anyone else you want to shout out, certainly hail with a comment or something. We'll certainly share it. So, LeRon, you have, and we've got to know each other better and better.
Absolutely.
What role does, in your opinion, do the police hold or play in the world? Because you believe there's white supremacy.
Yeah.
What role, in your opinion, does the police force or policing play in the role of white supremacy in 2017?
The police play the role of sort of the physical violence, the role of the direct oppressor. I mean, see, you have different facets of it, right? Like you have housing, you have mass incarceration, you have education, you have employment and labor, and what the police do is that the police just physically harm you. I mean, people like to say, "Oh, LeRon, you shouldn't talk in absolutes," but you ask any black person, and I'm serious, from LeBron James to Lawrence Otis Graham, a fellow that I referenced in the piece, to James Blake, to even your average everyday black person from Kansas City to Toronto. I guarantee you that they have minimum one story of a negative interaction with the cops. I mean, like the police play the role of the direct physical oppressor.
I know in another conversation we were having, I was hosting, you had mentioned about the whole scenario of good cops or good police officers, and you perhaps brought in a thought process saying that you don't feel there's such a thing as a good police officer. Because
not, no.
So why do you think that? Why do you feel there's no such thing as a good police officer?
Well, so in the piece, I referenced a guy by the name of Dietrich Bonhoeffer. I don't know if I'm butchering the fellow's name, but he said something really important. In so many words, he said, silence is complicit, right? So if you see something bad happening, like take for example, the best example I can give you is the lynching of Walter Scott. Notice I didn't say killing, I said lynching. Walter Scott was lynched by Michael Slater, shot him in the back, right? So now there were two cops on the scene. The other cop, and unfortunately, he was a black man, but we live in a system of racism, white supremacy, and so there's always been black people that have aided racists, right? So the black cop comes to the scene, and the black cop attempts, or he or Michael Slater attempt to put a taser next to Walter Scott's body, right? So now that proves that if that black person was a good cop, he would have been like, "Whoa, what are you doing? This is not the right way to do it." But instead, he tried to aid him in covering up a murder. The thing about it is, to quote David Banner, all the cops know who the bad cops are, right? I mean, it's just like you're at a job, and you know who's slacking, you know who's slacking off, you know who's skimming money from the accounts, who's showing up late. But the thing about it is, like, none of these cops and no black cops in mass come together and decry the bad cops. So by you not saying anything, you're basically saying within your silence and your non-action that you're okay with that. If I sit up here and if I let someone say homophobic stuff without me checking them or without me just saying something, then it means that I'm okay with their behavior. So that's why I say, man, like until I see a mass exodus from the blue wall silence, I'm thinking all cops are bad. I mean, that's just the way that I look at it.
Okay, point taken. Curtis Brooks again is commenting saying silence is complicit. He agrees with what you're saying. Give us, like, have you had any chance to talk with policemen outside of an incident?
Yeah. Hello. How are you doing? Have a great day. I mean, look, not to be flippant, but I never really had a very substantive conversation with a cop because
Okay, so have you ever been treated respectfully by a policeman?
Twice. Once with my white girlfriend,
okay.
And once, due to I don't know, like maybe like the cop felt bad for me being a stranded motorist. But I mean, recently I was walking and I just missed the light, and this cop runs up to me and he's like, blah blah blah. I need you to give me your ID. I need you to stand right there. He cited me for jaywalking. Now mind you, there's tons of people on the street jaywalking, littering, smoking cannabis, and I'm just walking to my girlfriend's house, got my beats on, I'm probably listening to some Snoop Dogg, I'm trying to get home, and the cop just accosts me, and it blew my mind because I'm just like, damn. I mean, it was so ill, and yes, I mean, honestly, Dr. Bob, I don't think that I'm really interested, because it's going to be nothing but just excuses and just obfuscating why black people are being killed at a very fast rate. And you can have the people that say, oh well, white people are killed by police more than black people. Well, that's because white folks encompass a large part of the population of the United States. But in San Francisco, 49% of all of their felony arrests are from black people. Mind you, this is a city that has less than 4% black people.
Wow.
So I mean, the math, it shows that there's a direct sort of targeting of folks that look like myself.
So I'm going to parking lot that point just for a second, but I'd like to get my friends and audience engage as much as possible. Curtis is saying here, from the beginning, blacks have been pitted one against another. It has become second nature for many blacks and black cops to side with the oppressor.
I mean, look, man, like, there's always been black people who, look, so what we have to understand is that black people are victims of racist white supremacy, right? And I've said this on your broadcast before, Dr. Bob. Black people and just racist white folks, it's like an abusive relationship, right? I'm sorry, it's like an abusive relationship. So there's a great quote from the movie Gangs in New York, and it goes something to the effect of, "It's very warm under the dragon's wing." So when I see black people being, lack of a better term, being slave catchers and just simply not sticking up for other black people when they're arrested. I mean, I have to realize that they are victims of racism and they're doing what they can to survive. I don't think it's right, but I understand it because hell, man, like in a abusive relationship, you're gonna do what you can to not get hit, right?
Right.
So, like, you know, you're gonna walk on eggshells. You're gonna make sure that person's dinner is extra crisp and got the.
I hope they're not coming for you, man.
No, you know, then I actually turn off the stove, so don't worry about it.
Good take.
So you know, I think that there are a lot of people that will, you know, do what they can to not be victimized, man. And you know, I don't knock black people for joining the police department. Some black folks feel like that they can change things from within, but me being a young boy from Kansas, Missouri, who would, you know, go to the country. We all know that when a tree is rotten from the root, you gotta chop it down. You gotta simply like pull. You gotta simply pull it up. You can't repair it. So.
Excellent. And you know what? You're in very strong company tonight. Also joining us is Dr. Marvin Thompson, who is a regular contributor on the Dr. Vibe Epic Conversation, and who actually in a little under 2 hours is going to be joining myself and Jazz Keys on a wonderful epic conversation. And the title of that conversation is Education Still the Great Equalizer for Blacks. So that's coming up. But Dr. T is saying engagement with law enforcement on a casual basis is risky, as the intent of engagement is to pursue criminal charge rather than community engagement.
Black self-respect. Thank you very much, sir. Like that brother knows what time it is. Like I like to use a quote from counter-racist scientist Neely Fuller, and minimize contact, minimize conflict. So that's just that's just what it is, man. I try to avoid the police like the plague. You know, I live in San Francisco. I don't drive, and I always joke that I have a high percentage of living because I don't need a car. Just saying.
I want to get back to these statistics. You were saying that 49% of what was it? The arrests?
Yes, sir. 49% of felony arrests.
49% of felony arrests are people of color, where there's only blacks, and they're only 4%, yes, and they're only 4% of the population.
You know, some people say 3. I like to be a bit more hopeful, so I'm gonna say 4. I mean, just 3 just seems like, damn, like, you know, they're just exterminating us. I mean, or they're just forcing us out. So I like the even number.
Well, okay, so let me ask you something. What in the black community of San Francisco, are they unified that this is an issue? Is there divisiveness that there is an issue?
Man, so the main reason why is that you know, as you know, gentrification. You know, it's what I like to call a tidal wave that's just destroying everything in its path, and just, you know, unfortunately, I don't think that we can do anything about it because we live in a capitalistic system that only values money. You know, when people are landlords, and I was telling this with a friend of mine. You know, he's a homeless advocate, and he's, you know, anti-gentrification. I was telling him, I'm like, look, fam, if I buy a property, I'm trying to make money. I'm not trying to preserve feelings. I'm not trying to, you know, be friends. I'm doing this as a means of income. And so what's happened, Dr. Bob, is that with the infusion of tech capital, a lot of these workers are able to pay so much money for rent. And so a lot of these historically black neighborhoods, they're being pushed out. You know, the landlords are selling, new landlords are buying a property and they're just ratcheting up the rent, and so these people who've been living in these places for, several decades, they can't afford to, pay the rent. Now, you can say that they should have bought, which, I kind of see that, but at the same time, and I know that loans and capital just aren't readily available to Black people. So this is happening in neighborhoods like the Fillmore. This is happening in Western Addition, and it's starting to creep up into a Black neighborhood called the Bayview. Now, there's also a neighborhood called the Mission, which is, in my eyes, the ground zero for gentrification. If anyone knows anything about the Mission, it's a historically Latino neighborhood, and there's just gentrification is just ripping that neighborhood apart. So, yeah, so I mean, that's why we have such a low percentage of black families in San Francisco. Is just because, I mean, dude, like, who can pay $3,000 for a one bedroom and you're only making $40,000-$50,000 a year? That's impossible. The math doesn't. It doesn't add up, because $3,000. I mean, that's $36,000 a year. So I mean, you have to. I believe to get that apartment, you got to make at least 2 to 3 times a month, and like a lot of people, unfortunately, that have been living here, they just don't have the means to pay that.
Understood. I just want to, and it's coming as our time's beginning to wind down here.
Sure, yes,
but one of the wonderful friends I've had on the Dr. Vibe show recently, James Foreman, wrote a very good book, James Foreman Jr., and he basically outlines that. And so he said that a number of years ago, black leadership had an opportunity to try to get as much as they could from the government of power. They had a number of requests, and the only thing that they were able to get from them was better policing of the neighborhoods, which has now turned out to be an interesting thing. Just building on that, do you notice that the older a number of blacks get, the more conservative they get? And when you say to them, should you call the police, I'd be very interested to know the differences in thought process between older blacks and younger blacks.
It's a very good question.
And if Curtis and Dr. Thompson are on here, please feel free to contribute. Actually, Dr. T has a comment on your gentrification, but I want you to address that conversation piece first, and we'll get to Dr. Thompson.
So I think that a lot of older blacks, they will sort of run to the respectability politics. You need to pull your pants up. You need to quote unquote act right. When the police come, you need to do everything but just like lie on your belly. I mean, they will never shift the blame to the white supremacist power structure. They will always blame us because it's so easy to beat upon yourself, right? I mean, dude, like, who wants to like look at the situation for what it is? I mean, it's one of those things where it's like, Jay-Z has a new album out, right? And I haven't heard him. I'm not that big of a fan of Ho because I just think a lot of stuff it's not that good. But from what I hear, a lot of the music is just talking about, well, black people, we need to save more. We need to get credit, yada yada yada. But we're not talking about the fact that we are in this economic situation. We are in a situation because of the government engineered it. I'm not saying not to take personal responsibility, but it's easy to beat up on the youngsters and tell them that they did something wrong, rather than to look at the police and say, "Wow, this whole system is messed up." Because you want to know why, Dr. Bob? Because that means that you have to do something about it. That means that you have to actually act. And a lot of people would just rather just sit back and just blame the youth because they don't interact with the youth. Like, I have, and I've mentioned this young man on your show quite a few times. I have a young man that I mentor, and I'm brutally honest with him about racist white supremacy, what he's going to face, what he needs to do to survive, because this is his life, right? And so I don't tell him silly things like, oh, well, you need to ditch the hoodie, or you need to turn your music down. No, I know. I tell him, look, man, like, the police are just simply out to get us, and that there's nothing that we can do about it.
Okay, fair enough. Now, getting back to the most recent comment by Dr. Thompson, he says gentrification is typically followed by, quote, broken windows, unquote, policing,
100%,
which is another net people of color, and reinforces stereotypes which drive abusive policing.
Yeah, I mean, it's a form. I mean, it's what some people would call economic genocide, and it's also, I mean, look, check it out, right? So, I think that gentrification and racism and capitalism are all in the same soup, are all in the same bowl. So, a perfect example of that is that there was a young Latino man here named Alex Nieto. Very, very famous case. He lived in a neighborhood called Bernal Heights. Bernal Heights is getting gentrified really, really crazy. And so, Alex was a neighborhood son. And what had happened was, Alex was up early, I guess maybe it's like early or or like late in the night, because he worked security. And so the people that had just moved in there, I guess you can call them the gentrifiers, they saw Alex as this suspicious character. So the police were called. The police came out, words were exchanged, and they shot him over 50 times. That's because the people that had recently moved there, they did not understand the neighborhood. They did not know who all lived in that neighborhood. So when you're not around non-white people, when you think that every Latino, Mexican, black person with a sports coat on is a thug, you're going to get afraid. And it's this totally irrational fear, right? That's just, pushed by the media. I mean, most of these people have never even talked with a black person. I mean, I believe that there was a study that came out that said that majority of whites don't even have black friends. But, black and other non-white people, we interact with white folks on the daily. So I mean, it's just it's how gentrification and capitalism and racism work together. So I mean, Alex was killed, and a gentrifier was partially responsible.
Okay, got to catch up because Curtis and Dr. Thompson are filling up the comment section, so got to catch up here. Curtis Brooks says there is always divisiveness within black culture, and no amount of money can change this problem. It's a heart issue. Our habits have to be broken. We have to think our way out. Two here from Dr. T. First, respectability politics is grounded in, quote, civil disclosure, unquote, dialogue. It has spread and is persuasive in the education sector as well. Then also Dr. Thompson, it disavows the experiences and voices of people of color. The generational perspectives limits the voices of emerging new majority, which is browner. And then Curtis Brooks says you can't police someone who you are threatened by.
Man, powerful. I was actually listening to our roundtable last year, this morning while I
mean last week?
Working out.
Last week?
No.
Last year?
Yes, sir. There was a show. It was a truly epic show. It was myself, Dr. Rashid, Galen Bingham, and Rodney, and I believe his name is Lewis from Canada.
Louis Marsh.
Yes, sir. Man, shout out to that dude. We really miss him. And so Galen Bingham said the best quote in the world. He was having a conversation with his father, the talk, and his father told him, "You know what, son? You can be right, but you can be dead right." And what I took from that is that if you look at Philando Castile, he was right. Philando Castile didn't do anything wrong. He was reaching for his identification, and the police shot him. And the cop ended up not being charged. He walked. I mean, he's no longer a law enforcement officer, but just thinking about what he said and just thinking about this topic now, it just further reiterates what I'm saying is I try not to have any contact with the police. Now, in the piece, I give an example of why I decided not to call the cops on a young black man who was making a lot of noise. This is like 3 a.m. My lady and I, we're trying to get some sleep. But when I went outside to talk to him, I kind of saw what kind of condition he was in. He was frail. I believe he obviously had a mental handicap, and who knows what would have happened if I would have called him. If I'm saying we have to limit our contact with the police, then I've got to walk it like a talking. Now, if someone's attacking you, if you are under dire straits, if you're in danger and if you have no other option, call the police. My piece is not saying to totally abandon, contacting the police if you're in danger. My piece is just simply posing a question: is that a smart move? Because you never know. Excuse me. That could be the end of us.
So let me ask then: do you believe in black communities, black environments policing themselves?
Absolutely, 100%. Not only that, but someone had brought up, well, what if we have police living in the neighborhoods that they police? And I don't really know how I feel about that. There's no data that has shown that to be effective. But at the same time, it makes sense, being that if you know somebody, if you've broken bread with them, if you've been around them, then maybe you'll be let out to shoot. But then again, that doesn't sound true, because white people have lived amongst black people forever, and they're still aggressive towards us. So I kind of go back and forth on that. Like anyone, I'm trying to figure out the solution, Dr. Bob.
Do you have any other solutions that you have thought that may be helpful to this issue, or right now is community policing the best one you see that can be enacted?
I think community policing is it, man. I think that a lot of conversations, a lot of confrontations, disagreements can be dissolved with a conversation. You know what I mean? Like example, what happened with me. I just went outside. I just had a civil conversation with a young man, and everything cleared up. Now, again, if someone's attacking you, and if you can't defend yourself, then by all means, contact the police. But I guess I'm just for having more options than dialing 911.
Okay.
You know what I mean? Like there's got to be a better way, because to quote 50 Cent, the cops are just there just to clean up the mess, or the cops escalate. They never de-escalate in our neighborhoods. And it was something that one of the men on the panel said, is that for some reason, and I believe it was Mr. Bingham, he said that, you know, the cops know how to de-escalate things in white neighborhoods, but for some reason those skills get left behind when they come into a black neighborhood. So, you know, just think about that.
Okay.
That's all that I'm asking.
No problem. Well, as we wind down the conversation, I'm going to give you ask you to provide a message to 3 different groups of individuals. The first individual I'd like you to speak out to is, what is your message to the police?
I mean, respecting like a white person. You know, Dr. Bob, like I don't have any hope that the police will treat me.
Really?
Like, you know, I hate to use the word fair because because with this racist connotations behind it, but I don't expect them to treat me fair.
Okay.
You know what I mean? Like I mean, it's just there's been centuries of just ill treatment towards my people that I like to look at this from a very logical way, and being logical, Dr. Bob, I just assuming that, you know, it's going to be a less than favorable confrontation.
Okay. What is your message in regards to this subject to those who are not police, who are not black, or not of color?
I would say shut up and listen to non-white people when we tell you about our experiences with police. You know, for some reason, white people tend to not believe us, and you know that's just simply it's because of racism, white supremacy, but also because they just have a different relationship with the police. The police are their protectors. You know, there's a reason why that there's not a white Tamir Rice or a white Jonathan Farrell or a white Alton Sterling, a white Eric Garner, a white Mike Brown. Because the police systemically don't see white people as threats. So what I'm saying is that don't gaslight, which is, you know, another of my pieces. Gaslight, don't do it, and just listen. Don't try to say, oh well, maybe you were doing this, maybe you were doing that. No, like, dude, this is our lived experience. Just listen, take it in, and do what you can to support us.
Excellent. And then what is your message to blacks when it comes to this subject? Should they call the police? And if they don't feel like doing that, it's just community policing. Are there any other messages you'd like to share with them on this subject?
You know, I think that is a personal choice. You know, for me, I'm going to do whatever I can to not call the police. I don't want to be indirectly responsible to another black person hurt and or killed, because I know from personal experience, I know from others' experiences, I know from reading, I know from historical events that the police and black people, it's just the contact more often than not is going to end up bad. And you know, I do think community policing is the way. You know, I think that, you know, we need to respect one another. You know, I think that we need to, you know, I think we need to get to know each other. I mean, like, the first thing in community policing is community. So I think that if we were closer and just, I mean, it's just like one of the fellows commented, man. I mean, like, black folks have always had divisiveness. So I mean, it's something very tough to get over and to overcome. But you know, I have confidence in us now.
So basically, if I'm paraphrasing, each one of those groups got some work to do.
Absolutely, man. I mean, like, you know, and just black people, you know, we should just be worried. We should just be worried about, you know, helping ourselves in that. I mean, like, we have to stop trying to convince others of our pain because it's very visible. I mean, people can see it. So it's just that they have apathy or they just want to deny it. So let's just keep moving. Like, you know, when I talk to him, I want to give him all the tools possible so that he can survive. You know, I'm not telling him to play the respectable Negro because at the end of the day, they're gonna get it too. You know, I mean, there's nothing. We're not doing anything wrong, right? And again, to quote Galen Bingham, we cannot articulate "Don't kill us" any better than we already have.
Final words, LeRon Barton. Great epic conversation tonight. And Curtis Brooks has one thing he says. I think the operative word is history. They will never change. I believe what he's meaning is police will never change.
Absolutely.
And also he said, well said, Barton. So LeRon, as usual, you have knocked it out of the park as always. Thanks so much for taking time out of your positive, productive schedule. If people want to touch base with, actually, one last thing. What has the reaction been like to this article?
You know, it's 70% positive. I mean, you know, I've gotten a couple people saying, "Oh, you know, this is just garbage. This is silly. You need to go back to Africa." Or, you know, of course the usual white supremacist comment, "What about Chicago?" So I mean, it's you know, I write pieces like this for black and other non-white people. I mean, you know, white people want to read it and they agree. That's fantastic. That's dope. If they don't agree, I mean, well, I'm just not surprised. I mean, because I'm not writing it for you. And the reason why that I say that, Dr. Bob, is because my lived experience is different than yours. I mean, when I write about stuff like I have a piece coming out. It's about finance. It's about how I just dug myself out of, you know, having bad credit and this, that, and the third. That's for everybody, right? So you know, everybody can dig that because so many people across the spectrum are bad with money, even though race has an impact to that. Nevertheless, when I write pieces like this, I'm talking to young black boys, I'm talking to young Latino boys, young black girls, young Latinas. I'm talking to just people who are just targeted by the system. So, you know, I just, as the great Malcolm X said, I just want to make it plain.
All right. And Curtis Brooks has left us with an African proverb, quote, "Until the lion learns how to write, every story will glorify the hunter," unquote.
That's damn man. You know, this brother's sharp. He needs to be on. Do you know what time it is?
Yeah, I'm gonna reach out.
Brooks, please.
Yeah. Curtis, if you'd like to, when you have time to jump on the Sunday night live audio conversation. Let alone, you've already got your invitation from LeRon, so there you go. LeRon's invited you into the bull. Well, I won't say bullpen because that's Dr. T's show. Into the circle, in the male thought leader circle.
Absolutely.
Thanks again, LeRon. How people can touch base with you?
Yes, sir. You can go to my website, www.leronbarton.com. It's LeRonBarton.com. You can also find me on Twitter at @mainlineLeRon. And I also have a professional writing page, LeRon L. Barton. I'm always looking for good conversation, comments. If you like something, if you didn't like it, please let me know. Just keep the nasty language and just, the racial slurs and just, I mean, I don't mind if you say that I have a big head or if I stutter too much, whatever. But just let's just kind of keep those comments to the minimum. And you can catch me on the Dr. Bob show sometimes. The Sunday night show, which is great. We have great, just intelligent black men. I'm usually the worst one, but
stop it.
You know what I mean? But I mean, though, but still, that's how you can get a hold of me. And Dr. Bob, man, thank you. Like, I never take this for granted, and just I really appreciate you having these conversations, because I know that for black people, specifically for black men, our voices are often muted, and people don't care about it, man. I mean, we're looked at as angry, as hostile, and just making stuff up. So, much love to you.
Well, thanks so much for taking time out of your positive, productive schedule to join us as always. I am Dr. Vibe. I'm host and producer of the award-winning The Dr. Vibe Show. I am also a certified empowerment coach, owner, and CEO of Express Your Vibe Coaching and Communications. If you want to touch base with me in regards to a complimentary 30-minute empowerment session, one of the three ways: Twitter at DRVIBESHOW. Email address dr.vibe at the.drvibeshow.com. And you can also go to the website. There's a contact form there. You can reach out to me that way. If you want to catch replays of my YouTube conversations, go to the YouTube page. Makes sense? We are now officially above 200 subscribers, which is a big thing. So I made a promise that once I passed 200 subscribers on YouTube, that I would set up an Ask Dr. Vibe evening. So I will keep my promise. And also, if you want to hear replays of the audio conversations, again, you can go to the website. You can also go to Apple Podcasts, iHeartRadio, TuneIn Radio, The Good Men Project, Stitcher Radio. There's also I said The Good Men Project. Also WJMS Radio out of New York. With The Good Men Project and WJMS Radio, you'll hear selected epic conversations on from the Dr. Vibe Show. As always, I'd like to say you're blessed and highly favored. You're a magnet for miracles, and you're a solution for someone's problem. I'd like to big thanks to Curtis Brooks and Dr. T to help making this an epic conversation. And two last things. First of all, the views and opinions expressed on the Dr. Vibe Show are those of the guests and do not necessarily reflect the official policy or position of the Dr. Vibe Show. Any content provided by our guests are of their own opinion and are not intended to malign any religion, ethnic group, club, organization, company, individual, or anyone or anything. And one last thing, sometimes you have to get smaller to get stronger. Thanks for watching live. Thanks for watching the replay. And coming up at 9:30 tonight, myself, Jazz Keys, Dr. Marvin Thompson, is Education Still the Great Equalizer for Blacks? Right here, 9:30. And LeRon's already shaking his head. So LeRon's opinion, but we want you to come on and give yours. So 9:30 Eastern Time tonight. Make it happen. God bless.